I need to get that out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen!
Welcome to the
No. Welcome to the Dr. Burchett Show. I am happy you're here. This is going to be a outstanding show. Brittney Carbone is here, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear the crowd? Like,
They're so jazzed right now. They can. Wait, this is a practice, right?
this is the real thing.
Oh, sorry.
How many practices do you need?
I didn't mean.
Cut.
I thought that you were saying you're going to test it first, and so that's why I was making that weird.
Okay, so let's tell them a little bit about you.
Okay.
This is real.
Oh, we're live.
The show is real.
We're live.
Hang on.
Quiet on the set.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I'd like to pause right now for a message from our sponsors.
Okay. Am I the sponsors?
We have no sponsors, but this is my show, and it was fun pausing for the sponsors. Because one day, if you want to sponsor this show, you let me know. Okay, back
Click
to you.
this link right here.
So,
that
okay, here's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
I want to talk about your story,
Okay.
because she lost a lot of weight, like 40 or 50 pounds, and kept it off and looks
Or
amazing.
70.
70? You lost 70?
65 probably. 65 at this
Really?
point, yeah.
Oh, I was only saying 40 or 50.
No.
70?
Yeah.
Okay, 70
That's a
pounds,
lot.
kept it off,
Yeah.
and I think you look great.
Get that
and
right.
Healthy.
Yeah. Healthy.
Yeah, I do.
Thanks.
And you've got great habits. But what I've always liked that we've talked about is kind of the deeper work beneath the surface.
Yep.
Emotions, what's going on with you, stuff like that. That's what I want to talk about. It's good stuff that I think I've learned a lot from you.
Aww.
And I think they can too. So that's why you're on the show.
Great. Well, do you want me to just, go ahead.
I want you to talk about your story in a second. I want you to tell everybody what crazy exciting thing you're going to start tomorrow training for, which this is ridiculous.
We're already getting into that right now? Okay.
I said in a second.
All right.
I said in a second. Your story first. And then, but first, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, okay? Let's give them something right from the beginning. When I want a couple of habits that you do on a daily basis, what comes to mind, because I didn't prep you for this, things you do every day that makes you happy and feel good.
Okay, I literally just talked about this on my Snapchat. So A, meditating, even just 5 minutes. I have a guided meditation that I use every morning. B, I pray. So it's like a spiritual connection. I don't really believe in like a specific God, but just to the universe. And then C, I write my food down. And I know that sounds weird, but writing my food down makes me calm.
Meditating, praying, and writing your food down, like the first and then the third.
I know. The third doesn't really match, but that's the truth.
Okay, when you meditate, what does that mean?
It just means that I shut off everything. My phone I use for the actual meditation, but
Do you use an app or just something you've recorded?
No, it's on YouTube. It's like a heart healing meditation.
Okay.
And it's just about like bringing positivity and light to the world.
Okay,
So
cool.
I like that one.
And it's like 5 or 10 minutes or
It's
something?
5 minutes. I'm not like a spiritual mountaintop, sit there for an hour type of person. I'm like I need to get things done, but I want to pause for a second, so I set my intentions for the day type of girl.
Oh, set my intention is huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
I like meditating. I think that makes a big difference, even a few minutes. What do you pray? If I can ask, I'm curious. What do you pray for?
I pray for the willingness to continue on my path with food, because for me that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I also just pray to come into every situation with love and come from a place of love.
Those are good prayers. Kind of warms the heart.
A little bit. Yeah. It helps me come into things with like love and tolerance versus coming into situations from you can choose how you approach things. So
From darkness and anger.
yes, and I'm very capable of that.
I can feel it.
Rawr.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so that was 2 things that make you happy on a daily basis. And you and I have talked about the relationship between not just food and health, but self-love and happiness. So I kind of wanted to start with something more along those lines than just like, what are you eating? What's your diet? Tell me about your carbs and your veggies.
Carbs, all the macros, which I do count, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was okay. So now give them 2 things that you do every day that's like you would say healthy habits around eating, besides writing all your food down.
Well, I have to just stress again that writing your food down.
Okay, tell me about that, because I didn't let you talk about that.
Yeah, okay, so because it is such a huge thing, for me at least. So writing my food down as like a ritual and knowing what I'm putting into my body, because I can be delusional as to how much or how little I'm putting in my body. So sometimes, especially if you're somebody who struggles with emotional eating, sometimes when you are eating, you could be really hungry and it can feel like real hunger, but it might not be. It might be emotional hunger. For me, by writing my food down.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Real hunger versus emotional hunger.
Uh-huh.
Well, we'll talk about the difference of that in a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, it's okay. So for me, by seeing it, I can know if I'm quote unquote supposed to be hungry.
So when you write it down, are you writing it down throughout the day or at the end of the day? Because you told me this before, and I thought you did it at the end of the day.
No. I write it out throughout the day. If not,
what do you write it into? A notebook?
It depends on like how specifically I'm tracking.
Like write it on your hand.
I sometimes write it on the back of my hand and like hopefully sleep on it and see it in the mirror in the morning on my face. No, but right now I'm using Lose It. It's just an app, but it also helps to track your macros, which we can talk about. But macros.
Hit your macros.
Gotta keep watching.
Hit your macros, bro.
I feel like such a bro, and I'm like,
if
it fits your macros. Which we could talk about that too.
Hey, bros get ripped, okay? So there's some things we can learn from the bros. There are things you can learn from everybody, including the bros.
Yeah.
I'm not saying be a bro.
No.
Unless you're a bro, it's all right.
And then you're good. Be whatever you want to be.
So, okay, so you use an app and you keep track of it throughout the day.
Yeah, and sometimes, so when I meal prep, I usually prep the same 3 meals. Like this week, I had cauliflower rice with a little bit of ghee and 5 ounces of chicken breast. Clarified butter is what ghee is.
Okay. I'd have to see that to know what that is.
Okay, I'll explain it.
Anybody else with me on that one? I had cauliflower rice ghee.
Rice cauliflower.
That's my standard breakfast. Like what the?
Come on, and then asparagus.
The hell is that stuff? Okay, I know what asparagus is.
If I have that meal, so if I meal prep for 3 days, I'll just have that meal already in my plan. So then I know, and I can kind of work everything else around those for sure meals. That makes
your
sense.
Meal prep. So this is another thing, meal prep. Okay, so just a couple more seconds on. So when you keep track of it like this, how does that help you?
What it does, it keeps me from mindlessly eating. So I have kind of, I don't want to say a rule, but kind of a rule or suggestion that I give myself.
Okay.
Which is before I eat it, write it down or put it in my Lose It app. And
before you eat it, put it in.
Before I eat it.
Okay.
Because, too, especially if I'm like, oh, I really want X, Y, let's say it's something bad. Let's say I'm like, or not bad, but, something that maybe I don't need like raw chocolate. I mean, I'm like, oh, I want raw chocolate. And for me, the act of looking it up and writing it in my phone and then seeing what that's going to do to my macros, which at this point, you know why, and which I'll tell later, is going to be very important. So then I have to go, is that worth it? Like, is that what I want right now? And then just even that action gives me a pause, which that pause time helps me step away from emotional eating, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes me think about moment. Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He always said between stimulus and response is your freedom of choice.
Right.
And so like it's the same thing that your process, because you put it into this thing, that's like where sometimes it gives you the chance to say, okay, maybe this is what I want to eat. This doesn't fit into what I'm trying to do. That's an interesting process.
Yeah.
So do you find you've been like
helpful.
doing this for a while? Do you find like even now you'll be like about to write something in and you'll be like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because it doesn't feel good to like put 2 bags of Skittles. Do you know what I mean? 2 bags. Or like whatever it is.
2 bags.
Yeah, I can throw down. And or like if I'm just thinking about it, I'm like, is this something I really want to do?
That's an
and
interesting.
then it just helps
kind
me.
Of process.
And it's not a self-hatred thing. It's not like, oh, you can't have a bag of Skittles, or you can't this, or, you know, you're terrible.
Bag.
Or, I took it down to one bag.
You can't eat a bag of Doritos.
You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. But what it does is it just, it also helps me pause and ask myself, is that a self-loving action? Like, does this help me? You know, well, how am I going to feel? It helps me play the food through. How is this going to make me feel after? That's a big deal for me.
There's so many things I want to talk about right now. It's hard to stay away from that self-love thing, because I think everybody, regardless of how fat or skinny or thin or whatever you are, like, self-love is a real thing for everybody.
Yeah, it's huge.
I want to talk more about that. Let's push pause for just a minute.
Pause.
You're not going anywhere. We're not pushing pause.
Oh, okay,
no, you're not going anywhere.
I'm staying.
It's my show. It's the Dr. Burchett show.
He does what he wants.
Tell us your story.
Okay.
So,
where do you want me to
70
start?
pounds. You lost 70 pounds.
Yeah.
What led you up? Give me
like
the 5-minute version, not the half-hour
No,
version.
yeah. Okay.
So, you were an athlete in high school.
I want to start from when I was a little kid.
Okay.
I know, and it's going to be 5
story.
minutes. It's my story, I know.
Okay, and go.
Okay, 5 minutes. It'll be less than that. So I was a little kid, super active, ran around, played sports, skinny as a string bean. We were like the junk food junkies. Our house was the house. You know, it was like, this is the house you want to go get junk food. And, you know, we were, you know.
My daughter totally knows where those houses are.
Yes, my parents shopped at Costco. We had everything you could want, and everyone came to our house for the goods. And but we were kids, you know, and at that time, I think that especially parents weren't as aware about nutrition, and it wasn't as big of a thing. It was the era of marketing saying your kids need to have breakfast cereal, i.e., not Cheerios, but like Lucky Charms, and they would shove all these like crazy sugar-filled foods, and
that's how I grew up too.
Yeah, I mean it's the era of sugar, really, but that's a whole other.
A lot of sugar and a lot of processed carbs and a lot of packaged foods and frozen vegetables and
craziness. And so growing up, that's just how I grew up, but I was tiny. Like I was just like a little string bean, so it wasn't a big deal. And people associate your outward appearance to how you are physically, nutrition-wise, and that's just not reality, you know? They're not gonna put me on or when I was that young, put me on a diet because I'm, 2 pounds. And
tip of the iceberg.
Yes, and eating was celebrated. I had a healthy appetite and I could eat a pound of spaghetti, and it was like, how is this girl?
Clean plate club.
Clean plate club. Oh yeah, and it was like a badge of honor. And then I got into high school.
It's interesting just to pause for a minute, because I think we all grew up, with these messages, things we were taught around food: be a good boy, good girl, clean your plate.
Totally.
For example. Or, a lot of times food is love between families and and all that stuff.
Come on, just eat a little
enjoyment and all this, and those intentions aren't bad.
No.
Love is a good thing. Maybe there's healthier ways to do it, and there's consequences to it sometimes. Okay, continue.
Well, and again, it's just a generational thing. Things are passed down from parent to parent, and it just health food marketing in general is a whole other story. But so I went to high school, and that was probably the first time I started developing a little earlier than other girls. So, started to get a little like, hit, what I'm saying? Got a little chest happening, and
we know what you're talking about.
And that immediately made me uncomfortable because I was no longer, I was just awkward. And I was no longer super skinny like all the other girls. They were little girl skinny, and I was becoming like this woman,
with some curves.
Right.
With some normal, natural curves.
Totally, but at that time I was developing faster, so it was like, why am I so big? And that started my complex or uncomfortability with.
Oh, that's where that started. Interesting.
I was probably
so the association is not just with I'm different, I'm bigger, and you were uncomfortable with it. This was not good, and so that was like acceptance, and wow, okay.
It's weird. And so that's when I first started doing the whole dieting thing, or tried to.
Was this like for boys, or just because peer group, or what?
I honestly don't know. I remember there was a girl that I was in high school, and she was anorexic, and I wanted to be like her. I was like, this girl has it going on. I don't know.
You didn't know she was anorexic. She was just skinny.
She was
and
super
you're like,
skinny.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, I'm like, she looks pretty. So I literally went online to LiveJournal, and there were support groups to become anorexic.
What the?
This is real. This is like a real subculture.
What the shit?
Not to give anyone any ideas, but yeah. So I partook in that. I don't even think you know all this stuff.
This is getting good.
I know. So I did these.
How old are you? Like
15,
freshman or sophomore? Like 14 or 15?
15, high school.
Okay, middle of high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sophomore year was when it really started picking up.
Okay.
So I was in these support groups. Mind you, I'm still playing soccer, and I'm a normal size, but I'm quote unquote bigger in my eyes than everyone else. Whether it was body dysmorphia or reality, I have no idea.
But you developed before other girls at that age, so that was true.
Definitely. I mean, it was definitely true, but yes. But I didn't understand I was just developing versus like, I thought I was just fat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, so I was in these support groups, and they would do these crazy diets where you, like, on Monday you eat 200 calories, and then on Tuesday you eat 600, and then the next day you eat 100. Yeah. It was, like, super sick.
I don't know what 200 calories in a day looks like.
It's like an apple and maybe like
and 3 carrots.
A tablespoon of peanut butter or something.
So you just starve?
You would just starve yourself, yeah.
Were you miserable?
And I would check in, like you check in. It's
accountability for anorexia. Boy,
yeah,
they got it down.
It was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. And I wanted so badly to like be like these girls on this LiveJournal thing.
Because they were beautiful.
Right.
Is that what the drive was?
Yeah. And I think it was a sense of control. I had some things going on in my life that were a little crazy for me, or I felt uncomfortable with, that were happening. And I think that was my sense of control. Yeah. I wanted to like do that. But here's the thing, is I always say I was like a failed anorexic. Like I wanted to be anorexic, but I was really a binge eater. I really wanted to be anorexic, but like I was really a binge eater.
Okay.
You know? So, because it was normal.
Did you get really skinny?
Yeah, in high school for like a little bit I got really skinny. And then I failed. Like, I just wasn't good at it. I really did try. I really did.
I'm glad you failed.
I'm glad I failed too.
Yeah. Okay, so that was high school.
Yep.
And then what happened?
Well, then we go to college.
Well,
about that. So college.
It's good you can laugh about this and
because it's hilarious now.
Kind of normalize. Well, these are very serious. I mean, girls, women, men, people die of anorexia from electrolyte disorders and all this stuff. But it can be very serious. But at the same time, you know, your story, you got through it. I think it's appropriate to be able to laugh at yourself.
If I couldn't, I wouldn't be okay.
Yeah.
Like I have to, you know what I mean? I have to laugh about it. Because and I'm not laughing at it, I'm laughing with it. Like, oh, because I've already gone through it. If I was in it, it would be devastating right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So.
Okay, so you go to college.
I go to college. I went to a junior college first, and I played soccer and started really drinking more. I had a boyfriend that was, we drank a lot together and played soccer, but still, you know, I remained pretty normal size. Then I went to transfer to UCLA and was there, and that's when I had a friend who also was a striving anorexic, but she was better at it than I was. And I'm only laughing because her and I laugh about it.
I mean,
now.
I would laugh at those terms. She was a better anorectic than I was.
I know. Well, I'm only laughing because we've talked about it since then, and we're like, God, we were crazy, you know. But we would, I had a serious drinking issue, and I would try not to eat, and then I would drink at night, and then I'd eat everything, you know, because finally I'd be drunk and be able to let my guard down. And so I was just struggling with like trying to find a balance. And
so you would kind of starve yourself during the day, get drunk, and binge.
Yeah. And I was on Weight Watchers, and I would be at the bar like writing my points in for each shot. I know. I would be like, I literally, and if I didn't, I had a marker. I would carry a Sharpie with me, and I would mark my drinks on my arm so I could remember.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, and then I would...
I'm sorry to laugh at you, but that does sound absurd.
I've been sober for 7.5 years, so I think we're okay. Now I'm good.
I mean, I don't... I hesitate to sound so critical, but you were sick.
Oh, yeah.
You were sick.
Yeah, and on the outside, everything looked fine. And that's the scary thing about food disorders and drinking, because it's not always the guy under the bridge dying of alcoholism. And it's not always the girl that's 2 pounds dying of anorexia, or the girl that's obese dying of overeating. You know what I mean? It could be, I was a very normal sized person in college, and I was dying inside.
Yeah, you had this kind of mask you were presenting to the world
I was never honest with
could
anyone.
have looked okay from the surface.
Totally, yeah.
Like I say, tip of the iceberg. You don't know what's underneath.
No
sometimes.
idea what's going on under there. Yeah, there's a whole,
And here we were, like, I'm billing this as, oh, you lost 70 pounds. Tell me your success story. And this is why I like it, because there's so much more to it than just, well, I was eating too many damn processed carbs. I started eating vegetables, and 70 pounds later, here I am. Here's the success story, right? Like,
right.
No, there's
a lot.
So much more to it than that.
It's crazy, actually.
Okay, so keep going.
So then
This is not 5 minutes, by the way.
Oh, it isn't. Sorry. I'm sorry. How long has it been? A lot?
It's been more than 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll hurry. So
no,
then
I think it's good.
So then I graduate college, and again, I'm still drinking at this point, and I'm like 21, and things kind of get really out of control. I'm working on a action sports tour, and I'm traveling around, and I'm blacking out a lot, and I'm eating.
Are you still playing soccer?
Done. So I didn't play at UCLA. I only played in my junior college.
So you played in junior college. Okay.
And I think, too, that had a huge part of my drinking thing, because in junior college, it was controllable because I had to practice. In college, I wasn't drinking every day. I wasn't like the roll over and drink type of person. I was the blackout drink on the weekends. Stress.
On the weekend.
So same thing, seeing a pattern here. Eat really healthy all day, binge at night. Eat, work really hard all week, binge drink over the weekend. It was like a be perfect, blow it all up. Be perfect, fix it, blow it all up type of thing.
Sound familiar to anybody?
Yeah.
I think that's a common pattern.
Yeah, for sure. To different degrees. I took it to a big one. But, so then I graduated college, and same things were happening over and over with the drinking stuff, and finally I woke up one day and it was like, I just hit a emotional bottom, another event
occurred. At the end of college or after college, or when is this?
After college. I was 22. I was in Breckenridge, Colorado for work, and another night, the same thing that always happens. I black out, don't know where I am, wake up, come to, and I'm like, there's gotta be something wrong with me. So I Googled blacking out, and it's like, I thought it was gonna be like a peanut allergy or something. Like I could get like an EpiPen maybe or something to stop the blackouts. Hey. Like a bee sting thing or something. And then up came the test for drinking problems.
Oh, you didn't realize you had a problem.
No. I thought
blacking out was normal.
Well, and everyone else I was with blacked out. So of course it was normal. It's so normal. If you didn't black out, it wasn't fun. You went hard. I wanted to keep up.
Funny, like.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, so then you thought maybe I have a problem.
Yeah. And then I went to online meetings and talked to people about my feelings. It was the first time I'd ever been honest about anything. And, I mean, not anything. A lot of things. It was the first time I was able to get honest.
What kind of things came up when you started talking about your feelings?
I just felt like I was different then. I was separated. I felt alone, isolated, like no one really knew me. And it was all stuff that was true because no one really knew me because I wasn't telling anyone who I actually was.
Yeah.
I was isolated because that's how I lived my life. And I was uncomfortable in my skin because I just wasn't, like nothing was aligning with what I was presenting to the world. So I was just basically a big fraud trying to feel comfortable in my skin, and that, it wasn't working. So.
Wow. Fraud.
A fraud. Yes.
It's kind of tremendous and powerful and ugh.
Yeah. But so now, so then got sober, decided drinking wasn't for me anymore.
And when was that?
I was 22.
22. How old are you now?
30.
So 8 years, you've been sober for 8 years.
7.5, yeah.
Wow. Good for you.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the beginning of your kind of consciousness like this.
Oh, yeah.
So then what happened with food?
Well, Funny you ask. So what happened was...
Because this is the Dr. Burchett Show.
Yes, it is. So what happened was, for me, it's like when you quit one addiction, something else can pop up, right? For me, I had now all these, when I first got sober, I got really into fitness. And so I was all about it, and I was like, I'm going to do exercising. And I wasn't over exercising. I was just exercising, and I was trying to take care of myself because I was trying to make this big change, and I wanted to be this new person.
Okay.
And so, which was a really healthy outlet for me at the time. And then I got a new job. I started traveling for work, and I was gone for like a year, basically. And in that time, I had no tools to deal with these new emotions that this new sober woman was having.
What were those emotions? Same ones.
Everything. Like feeling things, like real things were happening, and I couldn't pick up a bottle. We'd be out at company dinners or even just being uncomfortable in a situation.
So you stuck to it. You didn't, I feel like a lot of people would have been overwhelmed and like, what am I, bam, solution. This feels bad, I'm hurt, pain, emotional negativity, whatever. Let me end that feeling right now. That feels really good.
But here's the thing. That's what I did with sugar. Sugar was the new alcohol.
So what happened when you would use, so you would have these feelings and then
I worked in events. So easily, like, we order room service, we order this, it's an event buffet, there's sugar everywhere. I mean, I would like steal them and like hide them.
You would steal what?
Like I'd like take a bunch of desserts and be like, or like pretend it was for everyone else. It was not for everyone else. I'm gonna save this for everyone.
Wow.
I was like the hoarder of desserts. And then, then you go back to your hotel room.
Yeah.
You worked all day, you're exhausted, you hate yourself. No one on your team likes you because you're irritable and discontent with life. And so you're
unhappy.
You're unhappy, and they're all going out to have fun, and you're alone. So what do? You order room service. That's gonna take the pain away.
You eat some more.
Then you turn on the shower and you pretend like your boyfriend's in there so you can order for two.
What?
Trick of the trade.
I'm learning a lot.
I know, hopefully I'm not giving ideas. But yeah, so then, you just...
So let me get into this a little bit.
Yeah.
So you would feel bad, whatever that emotion would be, and then you would eat and you would feel better.
For the moment. So I think that
Did it actually help you feel better?
No. So
but I mean in the moment.
In the moment. But I didn't know at the time that's what I was doing. I just thought like...
You were not conscious
I wasn't
and aware of
consciously.
what was going on.
Right, like even with drinking, I was never like, people talk about how they drink at someone or something.
Yeah.
I was never the person that was like, I'm sad, so I'm gonna go drink a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I feel like I should loosen up a little bit, and so I'm gonna have a drink,
So
and
you
then
felt
it was
anxious. And then...
But I didn't know, and two, even with food, even as a kid, they always said, oh, you have ADD or hyperactivity or whatever.
Yeah.
And food was my solution because it calmed me down.
Yeah.
So same thing with being older now.
So this is one of the most insightful things that I've ever encountered in medicine. But getting people to be conscious of exactly, and just asking the question, what does that get for you? What does that do for you? Mm-hmm. And so I'll ask this about alcohol. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people you'd be surprised how much insight they have. And I've heard really interesting things. One is just very simple, I want to relax.
Take the edge off.
I want to take the edge off. Mm-hmm. To me, that's code for you have anxiety. You have generalized anxiety, panic, worry. Could be severe. You might need medication, therapy, whatever. Could just be like normal stress, whatever.
Right.
And alcohol will take that away. It takes it away. You feel a little better temporarily.
Definitely, yeah.
Some people, like one of the most insightful things I ever heard around this stuff was, one guy said, I don't do it to get high. I just want to feel normal.
Right.
And in the absence of it, he felt like shit, felt bad about himself, all kinds of issues, guilt, shame, whatever. And then the alcohol would numb that. He wouldn't feel the bad, and he just wanted to feel normal.
Well, it's like people that I talk to say alcohol isn't the problem, it's the solution.
Exactly. So
we need a different solution.
And so I think it's really insightful now that you see, okay, I had these issues that I solved with alcohol for a while. Then they were still there. Then I turned to food. Mm-hmm. And so the question I have is, well, what did alcohol and food give you? Mm-hmm. What was it giving you? And then the question is, how can you get that in a healthy way? What can you do to give yourself that whatever?
Right.
in a healthy way. And that's the beginning of, it's like smoking, you know? A lot of people smoke to relieve immediate stress. They actually feel a little better. Some people do it because they like doing something for themselves. Whatever it is that it does for you, to be honest about that, and then say, okay, I'm going to stop, and you need to replace it with something else.
Right. I think it's interesting or difficult sometimes to like go back in my mind of, God, what did I, you know, like go all the way back to that time and exactly how I was feeling or exactly what it did for me. But it gave me that piece of like that momentary relief. With drinking, it was definitely, it let me just be myself. Like that guy was saying, like he just felt okay. I just felt okay. You know, I was like, oh, I'm good now. But if I could have stopped at 1 or 2, it would have been a different situation. But once I start, it's game on. And I'm the same way with sugar.
You have that intensity about you.
Oh yeah, it's addiction. You know, once I start, I cannot stop. And I have no illusion about that, thank God, because otherwise I'd still be drinking.
You seem to be pretty honest with yourself about things like this. I find that impressive.
Well, I mean, when you live in denial for so long, you kind of, yeah. Well, it's like, do you want to get better or do you want to stay sick?
So you turned from drinking to food, put on some weight, stressed at work. I want to push pause for a minute. We're going to come right back to this, but we're going to take a break really quick.
Okay.
But hold that thought. And then we're going to get into the details. I want to know more about what, it sounds like you're eating a lot of dessert.
Yeah.
And then what
I was eating everything.
What you've transitioned to, like what is healthy stuff that you're eating and exercising now so that, you know, our viewers at home can take a couple pointers away from that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Be right back. I feel like we should have danced in.
You can dance in now if you want. Ladies and gentlemen, I like the clap. Welcome back to the Dr. Burchett Show. Brittney Carbone here. I'm thankful that you have been so open in telling us your story.
We'll see how I feel when it comes out.
You already signed the disclosures.
I know. Thank God for the legal team.
Domain. So we had gone, quick summary, through your childhood, high school. You talked about anorexia, binging, talked about not feeling comfortable through puberty, college, finding alcohol, continuing to kind of, you know, getting sober, turning from alcohol to food, and then you put on a lot of weight. So we're at the point where I'm curious, so when did you decide to focus on eating healthy and your relationship to food and yourself? I remember before you told me at some point you came down to this issue of self-love.
Yes.
So tell me the story about, so you gave up alcohol, you had a problem with food, and then...
So I guess basically what happened was when I was in that time where I was gaining the weight, it was like...
This is your low 20s after college.
Yeah, it's like 24, probably.
Kind of mid-low 20s,
yeah,
okay.
mid-low 20s. And I, you know, as I'm doing this, I know that I'm uncomfortable, and I know that I'm like, that I don't really love myself that much. And I was aware of that. I was aware that my confidence was basically gone, you know. I'd always been a pretty fit person, so being in this body did not match who I always felt like I was, which was an athlete and active person. Even before, if I was binging and had those food issues, my body pretty much stayed the same, you know. And so...
So you kind of looked good on the outside.
Right. I looked normal.
Yeah.
Like there was never anything that like raised red flags. You know, I think I got a little skinny once and someone said something to me, but it wasn't it wasn't a big deal. Because I would also like front that I was anorexic or like try to be, you know, in front of people, and then I would like binge by myself. So it was just weird. But so as far as self-love stuff goes, I felt so uncomfortable. And I knew because of the way people were reacting to me, like no one really wanted to be my friend, you know?
Oh.
I know, I was totally that kid. No one wanted to be my friend because I wasn't very nice. When you don't love yourself, it comes out. Yeah, it comes out and you're not happy with anyone else. And that was a big thing for me, is nobody could do anything right because I needed them to act the way that I wanted them to act at all times, and I couldn't stand that I couldn't control them.
This like totally feels like me like now in a lot of ways.
Well, it's all stuff we deal with.
This is why I like listening to, like, you're being honest about it. You're like, I was like this years ago, and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm gonna make my transition tomorrow. So let me hear how you got out of that.
Yeah. No, but it, you just, I don't know. There's been a lot of work, but so yeah, I just kept beating myself up, and then I went home. And after being on the road for a long time, and I saw my family, and my mom, in a very loving way, said basically what happened, like what's going on, because here's her little athlete girl, not so little anymore. And
was she looking on the outside, or did she know there was something on the inside?
I don't think she knew there was something on the inside. I think she knew something must have been wrong for me to be so overweight, because it wasn't like me. And so she owns a wellness center.
At that time?
At that time.
Wow.
At the time. So she owned a wellness center, and I had actually been the person that got her into health and wellness, because I had always been into it and very interested in it. But she, so then I tried this diet called the Hcg Diet, which is it claims to have you lose a pound a day, and you eat 500 calories. You take these hormone things, and it works, right? Because you're eating 500 calories. I do it for 40 days.
You were taking beta HCG?
Yeah, but I was taking their homeopathic version. Okay. It basically tricks your body into thinking it's pregnant, so that it thinks it requires more food, right? I think that's how it all works. And then since you're eating so little, it eats the fat, supposedly. Basically, I was anorexic for 40 days, and so I lost like 30 pounds. And
30 pounds in 30 days.
And I was so happy. You have no idea. But then what happens? Well, I start eating again, and I can't stop, and I gain it all back in 2 weeks. So that's when I think I hit my bottom, because I was
it's like classic crash diet,
right? Which is, I had done so many crash diets. I used to stay up all night like researching, what's the new thing.
What were you searching for?
I wanted an answer. I wanted a solution.
What was the question?
The question is, how can I get this weight off
as quick as possible?
As quick as possible.
As fast as possible.
And I didn't care if there was health involved.
And you didn't care what it did to your body. You just wanted the outside. Yeah.
I'll worry about the health later.
Then if you were skinny, then what?
Well, then I'm accepted, I'm loved, I'm amazing.
Then I'm lovable, then I'm amazing, that's what that would mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, let's see, so I lose weight, and then I called my mentor, and I was just done. I had this lady that I was working with, and I still work with, actually. And she was like, okay, Britt, I want you to try something you've never tried before. And I was like, okay. She's like, I want you to stop dieting. I thought she was going to give me, this great diet. And she's like, I want you to stop dieting. And she is the one that told me to start writing my food down. So that's where that habit started. It was...
Do you still have the same mentor?
Yeah.
That's so good for you.
It's so good. She's amazing. And so writing the food down. So my food journals, when you ask, when I was on the road and gaining the weight, I was eating everything. Cheesecake, grilled cheese every day. I was eating everything, anything and everything all the time. What happened then, which was, I think, is more interesting than the, how did you gain all this weight? I gained it by eating terrible food, but the way that my journey in the beginning wasn't a switch didn't flip. It wasn't like, okay, now I'm healed because she told me to stop dieting. What happened was she told me to write my food down no matter what. So even if it's a gallon of ice cream, even if, and I'm going to send it to her every night.
Accountability.
And it wasn't even about the accountability. What it was about, for me, was taking the judgment out of the food. My food is just a fact. It doesn't mean anything. And it makes me emotional talking about it. It's weird. It's just a fact. It doesn't mean I'm good or bad. It doesn't mean I'm this or that.
Because you attach so much meaning to it beforehand.
Totally. Especially at the end. It was like, I eat this, so I'm bad.
So not only did you write it down, but you also said, okay, I'm going to let the judgment go. This is just the facts of what I ate today.
And I would send it, and I'd be done. So some days it would be like protein shake. 3 hours later, apple with peanut butter. 3 hours later, chicken with brown rice and broccoli. Great. Everything's good. 4 bags of Skittles. 3 Reese's cups. Salad with chicken. Like, and I just send it.
Like, boom.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just the facts, ma'am.
Yep.
That's
and
what
she
I
would
eat.
tell me, don't skip meals. So even if I binge, she's like, don't skip dinner. Which it sounds counterproductive, but she's like, I want you to get in this cycle. And then it started getting less, and it was 2 bags of Skittles. And then it was 1 bag, and then it was no bags.
So what part of that process enabled you to improve what you were eating more consistently without the big binges?
I think you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's kind of like what happened with drinking, where I was just like, I'm doing this all the time. It's nothing new, but I'm just over it. Mm-hmm. For me, I just hit a bottom. It was like, I'm continuously doing this every night, and the next day with the firm resolution that I'm not going to do it again. Mm-hmm. And then the next day comes and it happens again. And I don't know if that's like divine intervention or just the universe working with me or whatever it is. But for me, it was definitely super important that I hit my own personal bottom.
Because that's where you found the motivation to change. Mm-hmm. And then for you, it sounds like it was this slow, gradual process. Definitely,
and it still is a process at times, for sure. It's like they always say, my friends always say, the highs aren't as high and the lows aren't as low. And it's less of me being on a roller coaster. It's more of just like a little, it's like this versus where it used to be like this. Like, now today I feel, for the most part I can not engage in those behaviors. And the thing is that the intensity and duration is much lower. Mm-hmm. Because I don't tolerate pain well at all anymore. I used to love to sit in the pain, just feel it. Wallow and just self-pity and now I'm like, get your freaking boots on, booyah, and get your butt out the door and you're gonna be fine, you're a big girl.
Get over it. Let's go. So, okay, so bring us from, you started writing things down and having this kind of accountability, separating judgment from just you ate what you ate. How long did it take? I don't know. I mean, we're talking years, but I'm curious, what did you look like when you were eating pretty healthy most of the time with some binging.
Right.
And the binging just got less over time.
Exactly.
For you now, is food an outlet sometimes? Do you let yourself eat a half bag of Skittles every now and again? Or what's okay now?
It's a fine line because for me, alcohol and sugar are one and the same almost. There are times, I could go out sometimes and have a drink and I could just quit there. And then there were times, which I would not know when that was going to happen, that I would have a drink and it would end up in a hospital. And so...
Had you gone to the hospital before from drinking?
Yeah, multiple times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was not cute. I was not a cute drinker. It wasn't like, oh, you just got so drunk and you were so funny and you blacked out, but it's fine. It was not cute.
You were nasty.
I was just like, blah.
Sloppy.
People thought it was funny, but I did not.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with sugar is that once that trigger something switches in my brain. And so once that happens,
you lose some control, like the addiction.
Right. I'm completely powerless. So I lose the opportunity to make my own decisions once I put sugar or alcohol.
So you try to you don't drink at all? Alcohol?
No.
Do you have any sugar now in terms of are you talking candy, Cokes?
So I don't really do soda anyways, but but as far as sugar goes, my iced coffee has a little sugar in it. I kind of know which things are my triggers. That's the other thing is I had a list of foods that were triggers that are
do you stay away from them?
I stay away from
That's
them.
like black and white for you.
Right.
That's not like, well, I'll dabble in that a little bit, it'll be okay.
Unless I'm willing to pay the consequence.
What's the consequence?
The consequence is I don't know when I'm going to stop doing it again, which is a scary thing.
So you're afraid you would lose control and then binge sugar.
Go back to that person.
So you've discovered you have these triggers that's interesting. I've been learning a lot about habits. There's a trigger, there's the behavior, and then there's the reward. And that reinforces the loop, the habit. Food is so obvious, sugar is so obvious. Whatever the trigger is, it could be as easy as seeing a bag of Skittles, having 2 or 3 of them, and then bam, you house the bag. What's the reward? That immediate way your brain feels with the surge
it's
and
the high.
the sugar high, and so that reinforces it.
And then I'll just start tomorrow kicks in.
And then you kind of
and then
just
tomorrow
let
never
go
comes.
of all of it.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is pattern interruption. So being able to identify the triggers like you have, and then either avoiding them or being aware that you lose control with whatever and stopping it before it even. I think that stuff is fascinating.
It's crazy to me.
Just like A to B to C to,
And like sometimes
chop
A
it
to
off.
Z.
You can chop it to here, to here, to you have a lot of places. And anyway.
And I can watch it. Like I can see it. I can play the tape through. And sometimes it's like I don't care. And sometimes I care. It's usually when I'm taking care of myself that I care.
So let me ask you this, because I try to eat healthy most of the time, and then I get to a point where I'm like, I need some McDonald's.
Right.
I want some pizza.
Totally.
I want to drink a Coke or two or whatever.
Right. Right.
Not every day. And I feel like, letting myself have that enables me to eat well most of the time.
Right.
How do you balance now eating healthy with this?
I think it is, and now I've gotten to a point where there are certain things I call them like my like clean cheats. Or
like what? What's a clean cheat for you?
Like if I go to the trouble of like making a homemade whole wheat or gluten-free crust pizza.
Yeah.
Like that's a fun thing for me to do, and it's like
you're such a geek.
I know, and that's like a clean cheat. I'm like, okay,
let's have some gluten-free pizza.
I know we're gonna get wild, and it's like I don't have that all the time. I just had a little phase where I was like eating sugar again, and I'm like, what the hell's that?
What were you eating?
Like, I got really on a kick with peanut M&Ms. No, the peanut butter ones. They're like crack cocaine. I was like, what? Not that I know.
No. The peanut butter ones. You know
what those are.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Those are dangerous. I got on a little kick and I was like getting them every day, and I was like only having a bag, but I'm like, and
only a bag.
No, but it was like, this is how I know my like addiction's alive and well, is it's like I started off with the regular size bag, like the 220 calorie bag.
Yeah.
Graduated right to the share size. They don't even call it king size anymore, it's called the share size. And I was like, what is going on? I'm like, it's like you might as well like shoot this up in my veins right now. I'm like snorting freaking M&Ms right now, and that was the thing. But there was something going on.
Some stress or something else.
A very
in your
specific
life.
thing that is a thing that does cause stress, and so definitely.
So you were medicating something.
Medicating.
Yeah, that
so
stress.
it comes
you were
down
coping
to
with that stress by
what are you coping with? What are you dealing with?
So what have you found helps you to cope better with stress instead of alcohol or sugar?
Well, this whole idea, which I talked about a little bit earlier, of there being kind of like a higher power or God or spirituality or whatever, the meditating and prayer it's just... That's my thing.
That's your thing. That's great.
Because it's like, I can't control this stuff, and it usually comes down to control. Anytime I have fear or anxiety, it's like I'm trying to control either exact situation or an outcome of a situation instead of like leaving the results, for whoever
I'm just
to take
like,
care of.
I'm listening to you and I'm so just thinking of my own life in so many ways. I'm just like, I gotta try some of this stuff.
Well, because we want a specific outcome. I mean, it's our nature as humans. It's like we want things to go the way we want them to. And sometimes it's not in our best interest and we just don't know that yet. And sometimes we're just not supposed to get what we want. And that's okay. There are things in my life that I was certain I wanted. I was positive. Whether it was a guy or a job or whatever it was, that I was positive, this is what I want no matter what. I was devastated. I had this whole pain process with multiple things where it was like, why isn't it just going my way? And I'm banging on my high chair and I'm pissed.
Why?
Yeah, but looking back now, I'm just like, thank you. Thank you, universe. That you did not let me do that.
I don't have any problems with control. I am not a control freak.
At all.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's talk for just a second. Give me like one day of what you eat now on average. And we haven't even talked about exercise. This is so funny. This is why I like this one, is because tip of the iceberg, here's the behavior. And we have been down here the whole time talking about feelings and how all of that has been manifest in what you've done. We haven't really talked much about your macros.
Okay, so I am a creature of habit. I do way better when I'm like my life is easy when I have things planned out. When I know this is what I'm eating. Structure. I am a huge advocate of structure because it takes the guesswork out of it. Left to my own devices, to make a choice at lunch when I'm stressed out at work or whatever, I don't need to make that choice. I just need to know that I have a lunch in the refrigerator that's planned. And when I have that, it's easy. So every single day I wake up and I literally have the same exact thing.
So food prep and plan is a big, so tell me what you eat.
Okay, so I wake up, I smash a banana in a bowl, I add 2 eggs.
Okay.
I stir it up. I put some coconut oil in a pan. I make a pancake out of 2 eggs and 1 banana.
A banana egg pancake. Okay.
Okay, and then I put a teaspoon of ghee, which is the clarified butter.
Which I still don't know what that is. Okay. Throw some ghee in the banana pancake.
And then that's my breakfast right there.
Okay.
So usually that's a pre-workout. So there's
you
carbs
work it out in the morning?
Yeah, I work out in the morning. And that has the carbs in it, some protein, some fats, and we're good to go.
Okay.
Okay, then I go to the gym, come back.
Get your gym on. Now, are you lifting weights mainly? Or are you doing cardio?
Right now, lifting mostly.
Nice.
I mean, I'm still doing cardio.
How long do you lift for? Like an hour?
Yeah, like an hour. Depends on the day.
5 days a week?
5 days a week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then cardio.
And also cardio?
Yeah.
Every day?
No, probably 3 days a week,
And
which will change, but yeah.
Yeah. How much you like 30 minutes or 20 minutes?
Yeah, it depends, anywhere from 25 to 45 minutes
Okay.
cardio. And usually the Stairmaster. I'm all about those glutes.
Okay.
Shoulder roll.
We know what the Stairmaster's doing for you.
We do.
Okay, so after your gym time,
Yeah.
and when you do cardio, do you do it in the morning also?
Yeah, I try to.
Okay, you try to do it all.
I try to do it in the morning. It just depends on, because I also am a
Some
trainer.
flexibility.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it just depends on my clients, and
Yeah.
and I just fit, I schedule my day around.
So what do you eat after that?
So usually I try to do a protein shake or some kind of protein bar. There are some, but they're kind of high in sodium,
What
so I
kind
don't love them.
of shake stuff do you use?
Oh God, what is it called? It's a super all natural stuff I just started using. I don't remember.
Okay, whatever.
But it's
so
really good.
protein shake after, and then what?
And then go off to work or whatever. Mm-hmm.
What time is this, by the way? Your breakfast is like what time? 6 in the morning?
Yeah, 5:36.
And then you're done. So your shake is at like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
8 or 9.
And then when do you eat next?
12:30.
What do you have then?
So like this week, or the last 2 weeks actually, I've been obsessed. Riced cauliflower, which is basically cauliflower cooked like rice. So
I don't know. Okay.
it's awesome. If you have a Trader Joe's near you, go get their bags of organic frozen cauliflower, and it's amazing. And you cook it, and it's like the best ever. You just add in salt or just pepper, and that's it.
Cauliflower. Okay, the rice cauliflower.
Oh, yeah, cauliflower, chicken.
Okay.
Okay, and then asparagus. 6 asparagus right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So 2 veggies and a protein, not much carbs.
No, not right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's lunch.
But because I'm getting carbs, like in my macros, I am actually getting carbs, and there are carbs in
Those are
vegetables.
carbs in the veggies. Yeah. Okay.
So, and then like today for snack, I had a peach, which also has carbs, and then this thing called an RX bar, which is a really clean bar.
So in the afternoon, you'll have a snack,
Mm-hmm.
fruit, this bar, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then after that, recently I've been doing tilapia. And
For dinner or for the snack?
For dinner.
Okay.
So snack is usually like a piece of fruit. I still love sugar, so like I'll get sugar from a fruit. So then for dinner, I'll usually have a piece of tilapia. I'll do some grilled bell peppers, maybe like half an avocado, depending on my macros.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And that's what you eat.
And that's what I eat.
Awesome. That's your plan.
And if I'm getting wild at night and I'm like, I need something, I'll have frozen berries. But that's only if I'm being crazy.
Let's not get too
not get
crazy,
extreme. Yeah.
right?
And that's not all the time. Like I just went to Vegas last weekend. That was not how I ate in Vegas.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked a little bit about cheats and not being perfect and all that stuff.
And it's not about being perfect, but what I do know is there's a drastic difference in my outlook and attitude on life when I'm eating clean and eating what my body wants.
What's that difference?
And when I'm doing with Vegas, I was like depressed for 3 days.
Oh.
So it really affects me chemically. And it's not I ate bad and
can
I'm
feel
terrible.
it.
It's like I'm tired. I feel lethargic. My brain isn't operating.
Yeah.
I'm more giggly. Like when I got here, I'm like, oh, just whatever. When I'm eating clean because I feel so good. I'm like probably seem a little high.
People totally, you feel better when you're eating healthy.
And because I'm taking self-loving action.
That's a good point too. There's part of you inside that knows when you align with taking care of it, that it responds and you feel better.
Right. And then again, it's like my attitude and outlook on life is different, and the universe, it seems to, create more abundance in my life.
That's all good stuff. Do you have anything to promote?
To promote, well,
can these people follow you on Instagram or go to a website?
Yeah, so you can either go to my Instagram, which is Brittney Carbone Fitness, Brittney, Carbone, Carbone Fitness on Instagram. Or you can go to my website, which is getbc, as in Brittney Carbone, fit, getbcfit.com.
Check her out.
Yeah.
Because you coach and you're like a,
I do lifestyle.
What do you call yourself?
I struggle with that. I call it life. I know. I am a personal trainer. I am a certified nutritionist.
Okay, good.
But I'm also a lifestyle coach, and that is a lot of the same stuff we've been talking about.
So trainer,
self-love,
nutritionist, and a coach.
Yeah, and bringing it from a self-love perspective versus you better lose weight because you're fat. You know what I mean? Type of thing. It's.
I like that a lot.
Try to come from a place of love. So.
Thank you for being on the show. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Thanks for
so
having me.
Reach out to her. Tag her on Instagram and stuff. You can ask her questions.
Yeah.
If you have questions, that you want her back and want other stuff to talk about, send it to me and we'll do it. I'm sure we'll have you back. I'm sure you'll be welcome back. Whether you come back or not is up to you.
I will. Soon I'll have more to talk about.
Great. Thanks for watching the Dr. Burchett Show. We will see you next week.
Bye, guys.